What do you want to be depressed for? Was what my mother asked me in 1996 when I told her that I'd been diagnosed with depression. Like I chose to have it. Like I thought, oh, I'm going to feel a bit depressed this week, actually. Like it was a choice. It was funny because my mother was a nurse and she knew of people's mental health struggles within the family, and it's just incredible that she was so dismissive of my mental well-being. I know she was concerned, but she couldn't understand it because you had to snap out of it. Just that no, sort of response to it. And so it was the beginning of a nearly 30 years of suffering from depression. And there's been times where it's been really bad, and I've attempted to take my own life. And I don't mind talking about that. It's not something that it's not a trophy. It's not something I would brag about, because it's not. But it's got to a point where I have been at that point. I'm not at that at the moment, but I know that my depression is biting me in the ass, and not in a good way. I wrote down, a few things I just wanted to say in this video. And I've said it on a social media post. So, I'm in therapy, doing that once a week. I'm having to do behavioral activation, which I don't know if you've have had any experience of therapy yourself. It's all about setting yourself tasks and doing and completing Anyway, I'm on the highest dose of medication that I can be, of this particular medication, with which I was changed back in 2018. And it's not been as bad as some of the medication I have been on, where they've had quite nasty side effects like dizziness and quite bad dizzy spells. Just putting it out there on social media and saying, I'm going through this at the moment. As I said to the person who I went to see at the job centre today, I said, just expressing it and saying, this is how I feel. There were such nice, kind responses on Facebook, because people obviously know me, and they have their experiences as well. And I think that was, for me, yesterday and today, was helpful, because it's like, you're not the only one. You're not the only crazy person who seems to be going through this. Because I always thought, back in '96, that I must be crazy. I'm nuts. That's it. What the hell? I'm losing my mind. And it wasn't the case at all. It was depression. It was a mental illness. And obviously, the way it's discussed now compared to what it was back in the '90s is a completely different thing. And in teaching, we used to talk to pupils about aims and objectives, aims of what the aim of their lesson was, and objectives, how you're actually going to get there. And I was writing down this morning, is like, what do I want out of life? What do I want? And how am I going to get there? So it's like, I know I want to be back in work. I know I want to do, a job and do it well. But how then do I get myself out? Do I just rely on that? What else am I doing? Obviously, I'm doing as I said before, doing my therapy. And talking about it, talking to people about it, discussing it, getting their sort of, response has been really helpful. But it's getting to a point where it's really like, especially around about 10 or 11 o'clock at night. I mean, it's 5 o'clock now, and it just, these intrusive thoughts come in. and they're not good. They're not good. And people said, go out the house, that sort of thing. And that's not bit. At the moment, I've got both of them. I mean, but I've had an X-ray on my left knee, and it's basically knackered. So osteoarthritis, with the usual, things that are, as you get older. And yeah, so it's balancing that of trying to get enough exercise and going out and walking and doing that, but not obviously to a point where it's so painful, which it is usually after the day after. So yeah, I mean, how do I get there? How do I get to the point where I feel better? And people always worry and say that I was panicking in the. But I have since again, actually the 90s. I have a scale of like of 0 to 10 how I'm feeling, so I can let people know. So if say at the moment it's between 5 and 6 of feeling awfulness, 6, 7 is really quite distressing, and 7 going on to 8 is getting into the territory of things like self-harm, which I haven't done for a long, long time, for years. And what it is that I look at that sort of scale and think, oh, how do I cope with this next bit, and what do I do if I'm starting to feel it starts to go down, rather than it spiraling very, very quickly, which it had done in the past, without me, centering in on, exactly how I feel. And I think the whole idea of being present and being mindful of the surroundings and things like that does help. Just getting through the next few seconds, getting through the next few minutes. Music has helped, and I've said this before. Just listening to a song, drinking water. So I've got my bottle of Bucks and St. Anne's spring water, sparkling, so very cold water, and that does help. Cutting down on the booze, so drinking like once or twice a week, not drinking to excess. Food, eating food. I mean, I've just eaten my first meal, food, or any food I've had today that's half full. Just not feeling like it. Wish I could just, all the weight would drop off, but that's not happening. And then the thing about getting too much rest, obviously, you can oversleep and spend far too much in bed, just rotting away. Just not good for you at all. And you do get a glimpse of better days where you have a nice bit of sunshine and you go out, you go, I actually feel better. And I'm taking vitamin D as well. So trying to get a bit of sunshine when it does, but obviously now we've got back down to cloud and 6 degrees again. Doesn't help, but and I'm able to talk to friends. I have a friend who I spend a lot of time on the phone with, and he suffers from depression exactly the same as I do, and that's been really helpful because you can talk through the sort of feelings and know that the other person does understand what's going on. And unlike my mother, who was just like, eat well, hadn't a clue. I knew that my dad suffered. I knew that other people in my family suffered. I knew that distant family as well. So it runs through the family. Yeah. I just thought I'd give you that little update.